Well, good morning or good evening, wherever you may be. This is a coffee and gold dust special, and I'm in the nation of Nepal. As you can see, we're wearing our Punjabis and part of the native dress here. And I'm with Janet Macarthur. The two of us are traveling together over the nation of Nepal. And I wanted to do an interview with Janet. She is my very good friend. She's a woman of God that's just on fire for the Lord. She's traveled to the nations many, many times and has been to Nepal many times. This is my first time. And Janet has a ministry called Good News for the Nations. And as we're having a mission emphasis week or time while I'm in Nepal, I thought it would be fitting that Dr. Janet Macarthur could share some things about missions with us, because that really is her heart. Dr. Janet, could you tell us how you got started in missions?
Well, it's a long story, but it actually basically started with the prophetic words being spoken over me that I would be going to the nations. And in Women's Aglow, what I was active in at the time, they asked me to take my shoes off, anointed my feet for the nations. It wasn't practical for me to go at that time or possible. But 15 years later, I was on the mission field, and I have been on the mission field now for 33 years.
Wow. So how many nations do you feel that you've actually been in?
Well, actually, I've been in over 30 countries and hundreds of teams. So even though it's only 30 some, it's quite a few trips.
Wow. Wow. And Dr. Janet, when you go on these missions trips, what do you do mostly?
Over the last, probably 17 years, the last 17 years, I've done mission training. I basically raise up people into missions, train them for the mission field, and even the training is good for churches because it covers really a broad base of instruction, training, and teaching.
Well, that's wonderful. And I know the past couple of years things were slowed down because of COVID, and but I know at that time you were able to funnel a whole lot of finances into poor countries, starving countries. Could you tell us a story or a testimony about that?
Well, I would say that one of the things that I really feel so amazed at is that during this time, we were able to share the gospel through our giving, through our praying, and even through having services, sharing at services. But the money that went through Good News for the Nations was very special to me because it kept a lot of people from starving, and also gave money to give to other people in the mountains that had never heard the gospel, and as a result has formed churches there. And my heart is really for unreached people that have never had opportunity to hear, and even now would never have opportunity to hear unless someone goes to tell them. And it takes a lot of courage to go to some of these places. They're very remote places and very hard places to get to.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that is wonderful, and it sounds like a wonderful ministry. And I know that something else that you do is to connect people and connect their hearts to missions, and do a lot of connecting of other people with leaders in nations so that they too can go on missions trips.
Yes, that's really been a big part of my ministry too, to connect people with each other, that they can benefit from knowing one another, ministering with one another, and it's a big part of my ministry.
Well, that is wonderful. Can you share with us one testimony from a nation that the Lord is laying on your heart right now, a specific testimony of a trip or a time or an incident where God just moved really powerfully?
Okay, one of the most amazing miracles I've seen was on a trip to the Philippines, where there was a young boy. We were ministering to leaders, pastors, but there was this young boy that just shuffled. He shuffled around and he drooled, and he had really no ability to function very well. And we just had faith to see him healed. And so we prayed for him for quite a long time. And we asked the Lord what the problem was. The Lord showed us there was like a big place in his mind that was like a vacant place. And we prayed into that and found out afterward that he had been abused by drug dealers and really shot up with a lot of drugs. And at that time he had lost his functioning. But the next day after we prayed, he was playing basketball and talking and functioning normally. And that was a really fantastic miracle.
You know, our God is so good, and he is moving all over the world. And we're seeing how he's moving here, even in the country of Nepal, which is primarily a Hindu country. But God is on the move, and young people are getting fired up. And when I get back to Canada, I'm going to have much to tell you about our adventures here in Nepal and how God is just doing so much. But I want to tell you, I just appreciate this woman so much. It has been such a great time to travel with her, and the anointing that is upon her life and the heart that she has for missions. So Janet, if someone would want to sow into missions, how could they get in, or to learn more, or to learn about a trip and how you educate people about the world, how would they get in touch with you?
Well, they can email me at jmac, J-M-A-C, at GNFN, that's George Nancy Frank Nancy.net. Would probably be the easiest, or to call my number, or to go online. My website is www.gnfn.net.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. And so if the Lord's leading you to sow money into missions or to find out more about missions, Dr. Janet is the lady to get in touch with and to get a hold of. And she'll make sure that, that money gets designated to where you want to go, or share needs around the world, because there's just so many needs out there and so many people that in third world countries that really need ministering to at this time. And it's exciting, so exciting.
Thank you, Bonnie.
To see what God's doing.
Yes.
Well,
it's been such a good trip.
Yeah, it has been a great trip.
And we have seen God do many things. I'm excited about this time together.
Well, God bless you all. Thank you for listening to this Coffee and Gold Dust special from the nation of Nepal. Love you all. Thank you for those who have sent support and monies and prayers, especially. We feel the prayers. We go to the mission field, but your prayers support us while we're there, and they're very important. So we have about another week and a half here, I believe. Week and a couple of days. And so continue to pray and thank you so much for that prayer support.
Yes.
So love you all. Bye for now. God bless.